Our next recipient is Barb Lindman. When Barb Lindman was growing up in the early 60s, opportunities did not exist for girls to compete in sports. So she spent her life making sure girls and women would have more opportunities than she did. When she got to Bethel in 1964, Lindman was one of the members of the newly formed women's basketball team. After graduating from Bethel, she got another bachelor's degree, then a master's degree, and later a PhD from the University of Minnesota. While finishing her studies, Lindman joined the faculty at Northwestern College in St. Paul. She brought 3 varsity women's sports to campus in volleyball, basketball, and softball. And any of you who are in that age group, you know if you brought the sport to an institution, you also coached it, right? So coach all 3, absolutely. Was the first head coach of all 3 programs. Lindman was named chair of the physical education department and the women's athletic director from 78 to 84. She was later named chair of the Department of Education, then dean of curriculum and instruction, and later dean of academic programs. And in 2015, she was named the senior academic dean. In 2012, Lindman was awarded the University of Northwestern's Distinguished Service Award. In 2015, she was awarded the University of Northwestern's Leadership Award. And in 2017, because she hadn't won everything already, she was inducted into the University of Northwestern Athletic Hall of Fame. Please join me in congratulating Barb Lindman.
Well, good afternoon. I am now happily retired, and in fact, just flew in from Florida yesterday just to be here. So. I would have loved being on an athletic team when I was in high school. But in the 60s, there were no team sports for girls in my school in central Minnesota. So when I did go to Bethel, I was thrilled that they had just begun one sport for women, and that was basketball. Now, things were quite different back there for women's sports. Our team had no uniforms, so we all went out and bought blue shorts and white shirts. We were only allowed to practice in the gym on Tuesdays and Thursdays for about an hour. There were no conferences for women back then, so we played anybody who had a team, from Fairview School of Nursing to the University of Minnesota. Those 4 years of playing basketball were very pivotal in my career because they led me to a Bachelor of Arts and then a master's degree in physical education, and to my first job teaching physical education part-time at Northwestern College in 1972. At that time, they offered no intercollegiate sports for women, but I was determined to change that. So when a group of college women asked if I would start a volleyball team, I said, well, I'd never played power volleyball, that's what they called it back then, but I would see what I could do. And then I went out and bought a volleyball rule book. There was only one athletic budget back then that was controlled by the men's athletic director. Now, he was very supportive, but the funds that he would give me from his budget were limited. In fact, I remember the first year, I only had enough money to buy one official leather volleyball, and I had to save that for the game ball. But we started a team, and that year I also started teams in basketball and softball, and I ended up coaching all 3 for several years, many of those years with no compensation. Now, although Title IX was passed in 1972, as you know, it was only gradually applied to girls and women's sports. But during that time, there were a host of us coaches and athletic directors and teachers and others who seized the opportunity to advocate for women athletes in our institutions. We were expanding programs, we were creating networks, we were lobbying for greater use of facilities and larger shares of resources. We were working to gain respect and a seat at the table. So I'm up here really as just one representative of all of those people back then who helped to pave the way for the opportunities girls and women in sports enjoy today, and that Title IX intended. So thank you very much for this recognition.